Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Car Chat. I'm your hostess with the mostest here, Jan, and I'm at the Kohl's parking lot this afternoon here in sunny South Florida. So when I record, I am in Florida. I am in what's considered South Florida, although I don't really consider it South Florida because I am not in Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm. I'm just north of all that. So our area is considered South Florida, but I don't really like to think of us as South Florida. But they're all moving up here, I can tell you that for sure. So welcome to my channel. Welcome to a nice balmy 63-degree day here on Veterans Day. Thank you to all who have served. Thank you to my father, who was in the Army in World War II as an MP, and to my father-in-law, who was in the Marines in the, would have been late 50s, early 60s. And luckily, he never had to see combat either. And to all of you who are serving or have served, we salute you and thank you for your time serving our country. And that's what we're going to talk a little bit about on my channels, a little bit about this country, things that are happening in our country. I like to kind of bring the economic stuff down here to our area in Florida. We have a national economy, I believe we have a state economy, and then we also have our local economy. And all three of those things might not necessarily align all the time. So we're going to talk a little bit about that on my channel. I do follow a lot of other preppers, people like Jeremiah Babe, Dana I Allegedly, Patera at Appalachia's Homestead, Pinball Preparedness. I just started watching Prepper Dog in Georgia, which is my future home state where I'm going to live. So I like to watch he and his wife as well. And I'm going to niche out my little part on the YouTube universe and give you my perspective on things. So quick little bit about me. I am married. We do not have any children. My husband and I have been in this area since the early 80s and have seen it grow and change. We are not retired. My goal is hopefully in the next 17 months to be retired. So I've got a little plan for that. We'll delve in that in some sections of this video or of my channel, maybe on another video. So I work full-time outside of the house, and Car Chat hubby works for himself, and he's in an industry that is dying, unfortunately, so he's recreating his own income levels by starting 2 other businesses. So we might talk a little bit about those and what you can do when you find your household economics kind of starting to nosedive. So I want to talk a little bit today about the job market. So my background is in the human resources field. So I have been hiring people since I was probably 20 years old. So it's been a long time. Done a lot of it. Probably could just do a video just on the stories of that. But anyway, we know we're hearing a lot in the news about companies laying off. And mostly what we hear are the big companies, the Amazons, the Microsofts, those big, 20 that are ruling the stock market right now. So we're seeing laying offs there. We're seeing companies close, almost it feels like at a record pace. Seems like a lot of companies are closing. So we don't even hear about the smaller ones on the news, unless it's your local news. And I'm just trying to scour my brain real quick to see if we have anybody locally that I've heard of that's closing, and nothing's coming to my mind right now, but in the scheme of preparedness, the best thing you can do, besides go to work every day, do the best job that you can do, be invaluable, and I'm not talking about giving your whole life and your, raising your stress level to some ridiculous level, but just being the best employee that you can be. You show up on time, you're not calling out all the time, people depend on you, those kinds of things. Like you just want to be a good employee. And sometimes you can be the best employee and you can't help what happens because the company decides to close its doors, it can't make its payroll. That's out of your control. But you can always control yourself. And I think when we hear all this gloom and doom on the news, if it bleeds, it feeds, or whatever that saying is, when we hear all this gloom and doom, we always think, oh my gosh, what if that happened to me? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so what if it happens to you? What are you going to do? Right? Are you prepared for a job loss? A lot of people don't think about it. I mean, here it is, it's Veterans Day. It's, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm off today. I work for a government entity. So us, the post office is closed, banks are closed, markets are closed, school boards are, at least here, our schools are out. So a lot of people are off. And you always like to think that if you do work for an agency like that, you're a little bit safer than the private sector, but layoffs happen everywhere. So getting back to what can you do to be prepared for that? When's the last time you looked at your resume? I don't know, you probably haven't looked at it since you started at your current job, I would assume. Why don't you take that out? Get it updated. Get it ready. Do some research on, how should you maximize it? What kinds of things should you include? Get your job description. Go get your last couple job reviews. You could always find some good data in there to add onto your resume. Do that. Be ready. So, God forbid, if that time comes and they are, giving out pink slips and you get one, you're ready to go. Do you know how to file for unemployment in your state? You might want to find that website, figure it out, because some states are not very easy. It's not that they don't want you to get unemployment. It's just, it's a state level government website, and some of them just aren't very good. So you want to look at that. And then, you have to come back to your household. How are you preparing your household? Do you have an emergency fund? If you don't, you might want to think about starting one, like today. What about your freezer in your pantry? Are you stocked up a little bit? Do you have enough food for a couple weeks? A couple months? I mean, that is something you want to start preparing for as well. And listen, I know groceries are expensive. It sucks. But when you don't have a job and you don't have any money, that can of tuna fish sitting on your shelf in there, it's got a lot of protein in it. It can be a decent lunch, okay? Might even be dinner, who knows? But you have to be prepared with food and with your finances. You're also going to want to look at, these inevitable bills that a lot of people have, credit card debt, car payments, rent, mortgage, all that kind of stuff. That's where your emergency fund comes back into play. So start looking at your picture right now and just say to yourself, yeah, I'm probably not going to lose my job, but what if I did? If I did, how prepared am I? Where are my holes, right? Do I need more food? Can I not use that credit card anymore and just work on paying it down? I'm a year and a half ahead on my car payment right now. I'd love to have it paid off, and I'm working on a plan for that. But right now, if I lost my job, I would not have to pay for Bruno the Bronco for 14, 15 months. I'm that far ahead. So while I'm still paying the balance constantly, at least I have a cushion. God forbid something happens. And you know what? It doesn't even have to be a job loss. It could be something as simple as you get an illness, or I just had a guy at work who got in a bicycle accident. He broke his clavicle. He's got to have surgery. But I'll just say roughly he's in the public safety sector. So you can't come to work when your clavicle's broken because you can't do your job. So he's going to be out of work for, I don't know, 6-8 weeks. We have to discuss all that tomorrow when I go back to work, but something like that. So now that happens, and do you have a steady paycheck coming in? Again, you know, do you have food? Can you pay your mortgage? Can you keep the lights on? Can you do your 4 walls? I don't know. That's just something that you have to sit down one night, turn the social media off, turn the TV off, and just do a little self-reflection and put a plan together. And hopefully, and I pray you never have to use that plan. But if you do, then you have it, and maybe you started making some strides in some of those areas. Okay? So that's it for today. I don't want to make long videos because I don't think people have the attention span or the bandwidth anymore. So we're going to make short little videos. We're going to discuss prepping, mostly probably from a financial perspective. And we'll see what kind of issues are going on. I'll tell you what's happening here in sunny northern South Florida. But I can tell you this. I had to take something back to Kohl's. So I'm in the Kohl's parking lot right now. And the store is quite busy. Of course, it's all decked out for Christmas. And it's only November 11th. So I hate that. But there's, you know, the parking lot's pretty full. I'm looking around. I mean, it's a pretty full parking lot. I'm parked kind of far out. But there's people in there buying. So I don't know. You know, you hear all this stuff about the economy, you just don't know. But that's what I observed today going into Kohl's. I'll visit some other stores. I probably should have taken some video, but I didn't. And we'll just kind of get a feel for the pulse and what's going on. And let me know what's going on in your neck of the woods. Leave me a comment below. Okay? And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Stay safe, start prepping, and get your plans together. Until next time.